you will be forced to leave against your will, maybe. Because I think medical technology advancements is really amazing these days.
It is. Today, I'm lucky to have a longtime friend. He's been involved in many of the different issues we've had here at the club.
Yeah.
Sada has been a real integral part of this club for many years, and we're happy to have someone like him. His basic business is the healthcare industry. He's worked not only here, but also in the US, and I would even venture to say outside of that. I think he's doing something with Belgium too. Am I correct?
Yes, I am.
Let's see,
Yeah.
we're going to find out. See, you did not do my homework, huh?
Yeah, you did, yes.
Anyway, let's meet Sada. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me here. I
Thank you
appreciate
for
it,
coming.
yes.
It took a little arm twisting, didn't it?
Yeah,
Look
I
at
did,
you.
because your last email was very persuasive that I feel worth it. So I'm here.
Most definitely. So let's start off with, where were you born?
I was born in the city of Kushiro,
Kushiro.
Hokkaido, the eastern part of Hokkaido Island.
Okay.
And the reason I was born there was that my mother's hometown is even east of that small town called Kiritapu.
Kiritapu.
Yeah.
Now, I might have been around there. I ride my motorcycle around Hokkaido a lot.
Yeah.
Isn't that the area where they have a lot of horses?
Yeah, horses.
Or is that a
but
little bit further?
Yeah,
'Cause they
let me
have
just, the reason I was born there is my father was in commercial fishery company, major ones.
Okay.
So then Kushiro was the major fishing port when I was born back in the early 1950s.
Okay.
So then my father was on the ship many parts of the majority part of the year. So when my mother get pregnant, he went back to his hometown, her hometown, to give my birth, because she'd be supported by her parents and the families. So that's why I was born in Kushiro, but that's only the birthplace, because the home was actually in Tokyo. So after birth, my mother came back to Tokyo and then stayed at the home in Tokyo.
Your father is also from Hokkaido?
No, actually my father is from Narita, Chiba.
Narita, Chiba.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
then
very close to
yeah, he's a graduate of the equivalent of West Point in Japan.
Are you the only child?
No, I have a brother, 7 years younger than me.
Okay.
Yes.
You guys aren't close? Are you?
Not really, but
Right. It's hard
we
after.
just keep in touch. Yes.
The reason why I say that is because after 3 years,
Yeah.
unless the parents promote it, there's a big gap, because your friends are different, everything else.
Yeah.
2 years you can stay friends. 7 years, he's just a pest.
Yeah.
He bothers you. After a while, he starts bothering.
Actually, if with a 7 years difference, you don't have a fight.
No, it's not a fight. How can it be a fight? You're always bigger than him.
So I feel like I was born like my only,
The only
boy.
child.
And then also he was feeling that he was the only child, so it's kind of spoiled.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your father graduated from the West Point of Japan.
Yeah, we call it the Shikangakko. It's the West Point of Japan. But he didn't go to the war, because just before graduation, the war ended.
Okay.
So
he wasn't old enough.
Yeah, somehow he decided to make his career in the fisheries, food industry, to help Japanese sort of economy after World War II.
But what did he do while he was in there? Was he on the boats, or was he?
Yeah, he was on the boat initially with the Northern Sea for hunting for salmon, trout kind of things. But later on, I cannot say to the Americans, but he was in the commercial whaling.
Okay.
Yeah. And but actually the commercial whaling helped Japanese population quite a lot until probably late 60s. And when I was become like 13, 14 years old, he's always on the mission to the southern hemisphere, leaving Tokyo around say October.
Did you know what he was doing then?
Yeah, because he sent me all the pictures and all these letters.
Oh, so he kept you really informed of his business and how he was doing it. So when did you feel like you really started knowing what your father was doing? How old were you when that happened?
Actually, I was very proud of him doing that commercial whaling, because it's a kind of unusual life compared to the other people that, in that time, like 1950s. So I was really proud of telling the story of my father, what's doing, to my classmates and my friends.
And you lived in Tokyo then?
Yeah, I was living in Tokyo. Yeah.
Okay. So where did you live in Tokyo? Where in Tokyo?
We moved around a little bit, but initially my memory starts from Itabashi.
Okay.
And then moved to Shinmaruko, which is Kawasaki.
Okay.
And then actually my emotional attachment is with Meguroku Gohongi. Because
how old were you then?
I was like 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. But I had a very good teacher in that class. So our class is very tightly knitted and I kept in touch even till now. So we have 36 members of the class, 2 passed away, but when we call, let's get a class reunion, we get 30 people.
From Shogakko?
Yeah, Shogakko, elementary school. Gohongi Shogakko.
So tell me a little bit, what were the streets like then? There were some main streets, but you had a lot of still jarimichi, right?
No. Actually,
everything was pretty much paved.
You go to the station called the Yutenji Gakugei Daigaku,
Okay.
then it just, it changed, but I think all these ambience there was stayed the same, almost the same. So,
What about
my classmates running a tofu shop, and they still running a tofu shop, and also there's a lot of vendors and shops that I saw at the time still exist there. So,
But some things did change because, of course, it modernized so quick. Like you used to have, I'm sure you had, didn't they have the railway? I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah. Because the Toyoko line was elevated. Because when I went to the school, Toyoko line was on the ground and there's a Humikiri, but afterwards just now I elevated and a lot of shops around there. But it's quite a change though.
So what was it like for you growing up? You had your friends, you guys were really close. What are some of the things you did?
Well, we played and we flipped the skirts with the girls in the school like that.
Tell me again, what'd you do?
I cannot say that, but when I was kids, you just see a girls and just flip the skirt and see those bad kids around.
Some people really did that. You did that, huh?
I did. But we still hang around these guys.
Did all of your classmates? When you say classmates, of course, it's all the boys together.
Boys together, yes, but also some girls together too. Because,
really?
Yeah.
Because but still it was kind of separate. The boys play with the boys, the girls play with the
girls. Well,
girls.
the play-wise, when I was there, I mean, in the kids, the boys play boys and girls play girls. But I think there's some kind of group that we kind of formed, so it was nice.
Were you more academic or were you more sports-minded in Shogakko?
I did both.
Really?
Yeah, I was reasonably good in academics and also good in athletic too.
In sports, what were your favorite sports?
Baseball.
What position?
Catcher.
You like to be that's rare.
Yeah, because my father was, when he was in college, he was a baseball player and he was a catcher. So he influenced me.
You really loved your father. Oh, wow.
I love baseball. I love baseball.
So your father taught you how to be a good catcher too, right?
Yeah. It's how to catch and how to sort of position yourself and then throw the ball quick to the second base kind of things. So, I never thought about being young again, but one thing I want to be back again is that I get young and then play baseball.
You love that much?
Yeah, I really wanted to do that. I just wanted to become young and then play baseball again.
How long did you play baseball?
Well, until high school, but I went to a very academic-oriented school, a Catholic school. So the athletic was not really stressed.
Right,
So, there's a baseball club, but we did kind of baseball. So, and also soft, nanshiki yakyu, it's a soft ball baseball.
Softball, yes. Right.
Not really hard ball. So,
right, it wasn't overhand, it was underhand throwing.
Right. But I really wanted to do a hard ball baseball, but the school didn't allow it. So, because we had a school that was very small, and at that time the school was rugby and soccer was the 2 sports that they promoted. So baseball was
back seat.
Yeah.
So you stopped after you got into college or high school?
No, actually I didn't play in college.
Okay.
So I just stopped playing baseball when I was in high school.
In high school. All right, what about academically? What were some of the subjects you really liked?
I liked the history and then Japanese, kokugo. How do you say that in English? I don't know. It's
Kokugo?
Kokugo is
history, right?
history, but also the Kokugo is the Japanese study.
Okay.
Meaning, like say, when you're US, you have English.
Okay, literature.
Literature.
Literature, okay.
I like Japanese
Literature.
literature and the history and.
What did you like about history what fascinated you?
It is because I think you learn many things which we've never experienced, but how it makes understand how, say, modern Japan is being made from the ancient ages, because those are the accumulation of all things that our ancestors did and then make current Japan. So it's a fascinating subject that I like to learn. Also, world history as well, because it's Japanese history is also interconnected with the world history as well. Because like back in 16th, 17th century, there's a lot of things that happened in the world. But I think if you look at the Japan history, Japan's only history to sort of evolution of the history, but it's also connected to all those sorts of things happening in Europe, and also, for example, like say all the European superpowers are navigating into India and in Asia, and then Catholics and also the Protestants, and then those are really affecting Japanese history as well. So it's kind of enlightening to learn this.
But it's very interesting, you being Japanese and going to a Catholic school.
Yeah.
Why did your parents decide to put you in a Catholic school?
So it makes a long story short. My father moved from Tokyo to Kyushu when I was graduating from elementary to the junior high school.
Oh, so you weren't in Tokyo then?
I was in Tokyo, like I said, in Meguro.
Right, but
then after, right around the time that I was getting 13 years old, getting into junior high school, my father moved to Kyushu.
You mean you went with him?
Yeah.
Everyone went to Kyushu?
The entire family moved to Kyushu.
Okay.
Because at that time the commercial whaling was going down, but my father was a refrigeration engineer. So he was able to switch his career into the frozen food industry in the same company. So he was appointed as a plant manager of the frozen food in Kyushu. So family moved. And then I was kind of bullied in the school because I don't speak the dialect. And also I'm a kind of sophisticated, good-looking boy.
They called you fancy boy or something?
So I was just bullied, and then I told my father, I cannot sustain myself in this environment. Said, okay, then there's a good boarding school there in Kagoshima. So, but it's a very tough school, so if you can get in, then I can support you. So I studied a lot, and then I get in. From
what age?
14 years old. Yeah. So, but I feel like I was bullied.
So, how'd you keep in contact with your buddies that you're still the ones that were here in Tokyo? How'd you keep in contact with them?
Write letters, yes. And then also.
How long would it take for you to get the letters? Let's take it back some. How long would it take?
The letter?
Yeah, when you wrote a letter.
Yeah, they're very responsive. But I think let me tell you the story, because I get into the school when I was 14. Then 1 year later, my father moved back to Tokyo. So I have to sort of, every time there's a summer break, spring break, I have to go back to Tokyo. So that's why I can keep my the relationship with my friends.
Yeah. Oh wait, but you still had to go to school in Kyushu?
Yeah, because
So your mother stayed there with you and your brother?
No, I was in a dorm.
This isn't a boarding school, is it?
It's boarding school, yes.
The one you were bullied in was a boarding school?
No.
Okay, wait. So I'm getting confused.
Okay, so
wait.
My family moved to Kyushu, means Fukuoka.
That's where you moved to.
Moved to. Then was the timing from elementary school to junior high school. So I was 1 year in a public junior high school.
Right, where they bullied you because you didn't speak Kyushu ben.
So. And also, I'm a good-looking boy from Tokyo, play piano,
and all the girls liked you, right? All the girls liked you, and these guys go.
Right. Then all the other guys said, who's this guy? Let's just touch him. So literally, I was bullied by those guys.
Okay.
So I complained, and then my father said there's a good boarding school in Kagoshima, just 3-4 hours away down south. if you can get in, then I can support you. It's a very tough school, but it's a prep school type of good. Still maintain reputation.
But what were they prepping you for?
Huh?
What were they popular for? Like, what kind of students came from there? What were their strongest fields or areas?
At that time, number of students admitted to Tokyo University.
Oh, they went. Oh, I got it. It was a good prep to get them in Todai, or
Todai, or
Waseda.
Medical School. Yes, as those. I think at that time they.
Or Waseda, like you went to.
Yeah. They say is, for example, probably 50, 60, 70 students go to Todai. Still, I think they've changed a little bit, but nowadays they send many kids to medical school. So, but I was not a good student academically in that school, though.
Okay.
I was kind of bottom, but but I was away from bullying. And also, I had a very good teacher there too. And also, I had a privilege to be acquainted with a very bright, good classmates.
Also, which helped to motivate you because
it is, yes. Because a few of them really made to the top. Like one of my classmates is the CEO and chairman of the board of Yamaha Corporation, and also
you keep in contact with them.
Yeah, because we get together. Actually, like just 2 months ago, we had 50th class reunion in Ibusuki, and he came, and also the other person that I can proud of being his classmate is the chief prosecutor who arrested Horiemon. Yeah. So and also like 1 year senior chairman of the board of JR Kyushu, 1 year junior chairman of the board of All Nippon Airways. those are the kind of people that so I'm really proud of. They inspired me to be here. Right. So I'm not really that good, but it's I've seen all the geniuses and all these very matured when young age, and then they have the amazing maturity that they achieve when they are 30, 40, 15 years, and they haven't changed. So
the same one.
Yeah. So they really inspired me, along with other teachers that they just also the Catholic brothers on campus. They are really also influential too.
You never had to deal with any of the sisters?
No.
It was all boys school. Yeah. All boys school.
All boys schools, yes. And at that time, it's French Canadians because the school is originally from France. And then Japan and the rest of the Asia is part of the headquarters based in Montreal, Canada.
Okay.
So
that's why they had English. They spoke English.
English, and also before my age, French was also taught in the school, but French was dropped because it's French Canadian. So most of the brothers are either Japanese or French Canadians.
Right, and they had to all speak English.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where you got your English, basically.
Yeah, because I was exposed to English when I was early age.
Right.
Yeah, so I was probably lucky.
Were you the only one in your family? Your father didn't speak, or did your mother?
No.
Your brother?
No. I think my father a little bit, but because he traveled around the globe, actually to the southern hemisphere for the commercial whaling missions to South Africa, Australia. Because for the commercial whaling at that time, the basis for those commercial whaling fleet was Durban, Cape Town, and also the Perth, and also the Falkland Island. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, those are the
where
bases.
All the seagulls are.
Yeah, those are the basis for the commercial
whaling
fleets from 3 or 4 major fisheries companies.
Were you ever able to go with your father?
No.
Were you ever to go on into the ships?
I've gone to his ship. The ship arrived to Kobe, and then the ship was ferried to the dock for the repair. Then I rode 1 day from Kobe to the dock.
How old were you when that happened? Do you remember your age at that time?
I was probably 10, 12, 13 years old. Yes, it was fun. Yes.
Did he take you around the ship and show you the stuff?
Yeah.
Showed you everything?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And he had a huge room because he was he was treated as an officer of the ship. So
it was his ship.
No, no.
Oh, but he was one of the officers on the ship.
Yeah, because he was from the company, so it's not officially. He's not in the operation of the ship because he's not a captain. He's not the first officer, but he's responsible for. Actually, his ship was entirely a refrigeration because after the oil is catched, processed, and then packed, and then frozen, bring back to Tokyo. So again, he was a refrigeration engineer. So he is responsible for the entire ship of the refrigeration operation, not the operation of the ship.
Okay. Is your father still with us now?
No, he passed away 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
So how old was he when he passed?
96, 7.
He lived a good life.
Yeah, he did.
Your mother?
Passed away.
Oh.
Yeah.
Before your father or after?
After his father, yeah.
Wow, they lived a good life.
Yeah. Both of them lived to the 90s, so,
So you have some time to go.
Yeah.
Looks like you have some time to go.
I
handsome say you can still soon some of these women whenever you have some time.
Yeah, actually, we are in the medical industry, so I know how they quickly the medical technology is advancing. So you will be forced to live against your will, maybe, because I think medical technology advancements is really amazing these days.
It is.
Actually, where I feel is that the legal, ethical, religious considerations are not really up to speed with the advancement of the medical technology. There's a huge gap between the medical technology advancements versus legal, social, religious sort of thoughts. So those social systems needs to be quickly catch up. Otherwise, we see some issues in the near future. Yeah.
What made you decide out of high school to go to Waseda?
Because that's the only school that I could be admitted. Yeah, to be frank with you, I really wanted to go to Todai because I wanted to play baseball. Because
Waseda has a team.
I know, but they have owned their selection that they pick all these good players from all over Japan. Todai is the only national university where they don't do any special selection of the players.
Right.
They admit students by only academic standard, and then people wanted to go to a baseball club, they can join the baseball club, they can play. So that's the only way I could go to the Big Six. So I thought about going to Todai, but my brain power didn't.
You didn't make it. So you were Waseda, what did you major in?
Law. I was in law school.
You did 4 years, or was
4
it
years?
more?
4 years.
4 years
at that time, and I could participate into a bar exam, but at that time the passing rate of the bar exam is probably 1.5%, as you know. It's been changed a little bit these days, but it's no guarantee that I can get passed in 1 or 2 years after graduation. So
Did your father want you to go into law? Did your father want you to go into law?
No, that's my choice.
Your choice.
Yeah.
Oh.
Either I want to go to either law or economics, but I think law is more. I have more stronger interest in studying law, so I just went to law school. Yeah.
One more, I want to ask you about your mother. What did she do? I know she took care of the house and stuff. But
yeah.
Did she have any other profession?
No, she's a housewife, and she helped my father and my family. And yeah.
How do you remember her most? Like, what'd she do with you that you remember the most?
Oh, she's a beautiful lady, and when I was a small child, I was kind of weak and fragile. I remember that, and also the health-wise, I was not very strong and healthy because I remember I've been always kind of ill, and then I remember seeing my family doctor quite often. So I think she really worried about me at that time. Then later on, she became a bit stronger, disciplined me, and sort of distanced myself from her. Be yourself, be strong, kind of.
Right. She would time to get out the nest.
Yeah.
She wanted you to fly.
Yeah, and also, she probably felt very responsibility of raising me in the right way while my father is away from home for a long time.
So she had to be strict.
Yeah, so she strict and disciplined me.
Did you ever have a time when you remember being very hankoki
I
in
think
Japan?
I did some hankoki, and then I shut my mouth to my father, and then I smoke and I drink a little bit when I was like a teenage boy. But
And how did they respond to that? How did your parents react to that?
actually, I was in
Boarding school.
boarding school, so I was
He never knew about it.
disciplined by the school.
How did they discipline? How did they-
Suspended me for a week.
Where would you go if you're in the boarding school?
Go home.
Oh, they sent you home.
Yeah.
So how did your father respond to that?
Let's see.
Do you remember how was he really upset, or your mother? Or?
Yeah, my father was really upset, but my mother was kind of silent. But my father was really upset and scolded me.
And did you take the scolding seriously?
Yeah, I did.
So you didn't do that again.
No.
It's interesting. Was your little brother going nanny nanny nanny? Was he happy?
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you finish at Waseda.
Yeah.
What was your first job?
My first job is a pharmaceutical sales rep at a pharmaceutical company.
How did you get that job?
Well, actually, when I was getting a job, it's a second oil shock, so-called. So the job hunting was so tough.
Is this 70s?
Had to be 1978.
Yeah, 70s, yeah.
So, my plan was to get a nice job when I was a third year in the college, and then just play around in the fourth year, but it didn't happen because of the oil shock. So I was so desperate hunting a job until like finishing November, December in 1977. So I interviewed many, like 20, 25 companies, then just turned them down.
What all of them? Not the same type of companies.
No, just different type of company.
Didn't matter.
Yeah,
You just wanted a job.
And then finally I asked my father, I couldn't get a job, so could you help me? And then he said, he introduced me his client company, and put me into the middle of the process of the interview process. So I said, I will do anything. I will do anything, please. Okay, you said that, okay, I hire you, then do a salesperson.
They made you sales. You're 22?
22.
22 at that time.
Yeah.
So you had to go hit the pavement and go out there and sell.
Yeah.
How long did you do that?
3.5 years.
What was it like for you?
To me, looking back, it was a good experience. But when I was there, it was hell, because it's a salesman.
And then you have this kind of weather too sometimes, in the summertime.
And my assignment was in Lake Biwa, like Shiga Prefecture. So driving here, there's nice weather. But looking back, it was a good experience because it's a fresh off the college. Not the kids doesn't know anything, but I've been exposed to the real life of the society, like good, bad, evil.
Were you selling to companies or individuals?
No, selling to GP practitioners, and also
So you had to go
it's an ethical drug, so prescription drug. RX.
So you had to go to many clinics.
Yeah, clinics, and
And
also
hospitals.
I was in charge of a hospital as well.
Okay.
So knocking on the doors and then everything, but it was a good experience.
Was it easy or hard sell?
Hard sell.
What was hard about it?
It's hard about it is that the pharmaceuticals are always oversupply, meaning there's a lot of competitions. So competing against a well experienced rep in the same territory is the toughest thing.
With the same product?
Yeah.
But just
Or
different
similar product.
Similar product,
yeah.
different
Yeah,
maker.
Yeah. That's tough. And also...
But during that time also, giving gifts was not against, the government didn't
actually
frown
at
at
that
it.
time, it's in the process
You
of
had to give a gift. They expected
very
something.
lenient
Yes.
period to the very strict period. It's a transition period.
I know.
So when I started, I remember that my first salary was like 11万yen, 110,000 yen per month.
Per month, right.
Then my manager told me my first day, get some advance for expenses. So then I asked him, how much do I have to get advance from you? Then 50万yen, 500,000, which is about 5 times of my
Your monthly pay, right?
So then
would you get like cookies or whatever gifts and stuff like
cookies,
that?
drinks, and
sometimes just cash.
Drinks in the bar. No, yeah,
Never
cash needs to be kind of you have
After
to
you
do
built
it
a
in
relationship.
a covertly way,
Right, right,
yeah,
of
but
course.
build a relationship. But also, most of the time, the cookies and all these sweets
And
to
dinner
the
and
wife,
lunch or
wife
something.
and dinner, lunch, drinks,
Right.
and then, those are the things. And play golf, and of course, that's why I acquired playing golf.
And you
it's
had to make it your expense, not the company's expense.
company expense, of
It was
course.
a company expense.
Of course.
But you said you had to take a five-month advance.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
go to my-
you need a cash to pay for those, because at that time the credit card was not really popular at that time. So,
But the company's paying you for this?
yeah, company allows you to have, like, say, 50 yen
Right.
at the beginning of the month.
Right.
Then you spend, and then you collect the receipts, and then
They'll give you back the money.
yeah,
Okay, I see.
that
okay.
is the system
I
at
see,
that time.
okay.
Nowadays it's a corporate.
You can't do that, you
Credit
can't do
credit
that.
card. Yeah.
You're right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Because I came in the medical business in the late 70s
Yeah.
too, and it was just finishing. And you went to certain places and they'd say, because my equipment, I was dealing with big
Yeah,
equipment,
yeah.
they'd say, well, my daughter, the guy would say, the intro of the hospital, my daughter needs an E-Class Mercedes. And I go, that's nice to know. She's not getting one from me. But that's what they were used to.
Yeah.
If it depends on what I was dealing with the biggest asset they
Yeah,
had.
I know, because there was a pharmaceutical, particularly, was a dirty business at that time, though. Because I think when you sell, say, 1,000 capsules to a doctor, then usually another box comes along with it for free of charge, plus 10,000 bill attached on the back
On the
of the
bottom
boxes.
of the boxes.
I was start thinking about how to get this out in 1 year. So, I was almost quit the job in third year because I just had it at that time. But at the same time, the company which I worked for announced that the scholarship program now being implemented. So if you applied and admitted, then the company can send you to the higher education in the United States in business or law. So I applied. And then luckily enough, I was picked up. So that's why I went to Northwestern's Kellogg Business School. So
That was
company sponsorship,
2 years?
2 years, full time. So that was a turning point of my life.
Okay, how was it a turning point? Tell me.
Because I was able to get out from the dirty pharmaceutical rep job at that time, not now, but at that time.
Right.
And then I was given opportunity to study business, opportunity to earn MBA from the prestigious American University.
Mm-hmm.
And then my human network, my knowledge breadth, it's so expanded.
How did it feel when you went to the States? That was your first time going to the States?
Yes.
What did it feel like?
Actually, that was the second time because I spent about 10 weeks in Philadelphia in the summer, last spring break before starting job.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you just been there. So you hadn't
Yeah,
been there.
so
for-
the 10 weeks, I attended ESL, English.
Okay, English is a second language.
Yeah, study in UPenn. And it was a kind of first exposure. So I had a sort of reasonable confidence in my communication skills in English. Went to the business school, first day, my confidence crushed.
You said, I don't know what they're speaking about.
What is this?
They're using business, they're using business English.
Yeah. So the first quarter was really tough. I probably don't have any memory of sleeping in the first quarter.
I can imagine.
Maybe I slept and walked, but
Because at that time, you thought a quarter meant the quarter.
yeah, first.
No, I'm saying at that time, because you didn't know business,
Yeah.
they're talking about, the months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So you had to change all the concepts in your head.
yeah.
To understand a different way to look at it.
Yes.
Did you have anybody that really helped you along?
Yeah, because we
During
have Japanese other classmates from other company, sort of
Who'd
scholarship.
been there at the same time?
At
Or?
the same time.
And they were helping you? How could they?
we help each other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we help each other.
Because
yeah.
sometimes I've heard of some people, like when they go to another country, they stay away from the people, like they stay away from Japanese if they're Japanese because they don't want to speak Japanese. They want to speak only English.
Yeah, that's probably my thought is I try to make right distance in both ways so that I can acquire American culture, American English, and also the American way of life. At the same time, for academically, we need to help each other to survive in that different environment.
Oh, I see. So when I really got
So
times you get
we
together.
still keep in touch with those people. Yes. Yeah.
So after that, what happened? After you left?
And then after I came back and spent, I got assignment in one of the departments in a company. Then naturally, I spent 2 years in business school. You speak English, you know the business. Then company asked me to go to U.S. as an expat. So I.
This is the same pharmaceutical?
Same company. Yeah.
Okay.
So they have a U.S. subsidiary, headquarters in New York, and then branch office in West Coast. So I can go to I can go to U.S., but assign me to the West Coast. So I went to the West Coast.
But they sent you as the representative of their company, so you had full
I was a branch
reign.
manager and a representative.
Did you have any staff that came along with you?
Actually, I was the only guy there.
Did you
report to the New York, my boss.
Did you have to recruit staff?
No, actually, the business was expanding, so but I didn't have to recruit any staff member until my last part of my assignment in the 5th year, 6th year. So I tried to replace myself with the American local staff.
Okay.
So I started the recruiting process in that perspective.
What was your job?
I was a business development liaison and managing distributors for.
The development with who?
Hmm?
With who? Just making hospitals aware of your
No,
product?
no, actually, the product I was dealt with is it's a B2B sales of the pharmaceutical API, active pharmaceutical ingredients, to other pharmaceutical companies.
So they need that product. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a B2B kind of business, and also there's a distributor for food, healthcare food supplement segment. So I need to manage those distributors.
So after you replaced yourself, you came back to Japan?
Yeah. Then I recruited the American guy of our competitor, and then as my successor, and then I left back to Tokyo. Then after a while, like 6 months later, I turned back. Actually, I wanted to really go back to the pharmaceutical business sector of the company, because I was not in the pharmaceutical. It's a fringe of the pharmaceutical. It's a more like a biochemical group of the business. So I really wanted to go back to the pharmaceutical business of the same company, but there was no position available. So I was assigned again to the same position that I was same business unit that I was before I went to the United States. So I kind of get bored, and then 6 months later, my boss called me, and then Suzuki-san, please, I have something to talk to you. Then, could you go to Düsseldorf, new assignment? And then I said, I think about it, and then next day I said, no, thank you, because I knew that I would repeat what I did
in the U.S.
in the U.S. for 6 months. So there's no opportunity, no interest, no curiosity drives me to go there.
When you finished that company, did you go to what other company?
Yeah, actually, when I was, when I said I'm not going to the Düsseldorf, then I was still hanging around the company, but the executive search firm approached me. And I think I can say the name of the company.
Sure.
It's Korn Ferry,
okay.
Seno-san.
Okay. Not only the company,
actually,
but the guy that
he became a very famous person now. He published a book, and he's been doing all these lectures everywhere.
Okay.
But actually, I invited him to our talk to my Rotary Club the other day.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, but anyhow, he said that there's a good opportunity for you to consider for the American subsidiary of the Japanese subsidiary of the American healthcare company. So I jumped on it, and then I started as a sort of middle manager of that American company called Baxter Healthcare. And then once you sort of cross the line, then you receive a call constantly from the headhunters.
What do you mean? Once you use a headhunter,
yeah, well,
you're always going to get one.
Once you cross from Japanese company to the American company, Gaishike,
right.
then you keep receiving calls from because I'm in the market.
Right, now you're in the market.
So every 2-3 years or so, I sort of moved to different positions every time, make sure that I do go up the ladder. So starting from Baxter, then go to Alcon, that's an eye care company, and then I switched a little bit to the basic science side from the clinical, because I was in the clinical side, but the third one is called Affymetrix, which is the gene chip company. It's a basic research tool for gene analysis. And it was quite a sexy technology. The human genome is on the chip.
So this had to be in what, the 90s?
About 2000.
2000, okay.
Yeah. So it was
Wow.
a sexy technology which revolutionized the basic research of the biology. And then it's a Silicon Valley startup, and then they wanted to start up in Japan. So I took the job to start up Japan operation for them. So I was there for 3 years, and it was quite a ride, and it's a good experience. But it's a Silicon Valley company. Then they think that they can do business Silicon Valley way anywhere in the world.
And it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. So I was kind of burned out, and between Silicon Valley way of business versus Japanese academia, sort of traditional way of doing business. So 30 year, I had enough. I'm sorry, I'm leaving. So I left.
There's so many companies
Yeah.
around the world that come here and don't understand how Japan does business.
Yeah.
I think that's something that people like yourself and like me can help many people to to
Yes.
bring that bridge together, because they don't get it.
I think the one of the major, issue for many of the American or European companies that they don't respect the idiosyncrasies of Japanese business. Because I think, to me, bringing cultural aspect into business is not the right way. Because I think business is business everywhere, and you have to make money by offering your service or products to be accepted by the customers in the local area. Then you make money. That's it. But there are kind of subtle idiosyncrasies. You need to live with that, and then they don't understand. I try to explain that, but they don't have any, often no willingness to accept the differences, and also the imagination of something being done in a different way in other parts of the world is not embraced by the other people. So, but other side of the coin is like person like me or you, that's the value that we can give to them. So
Because we can be that conduit.
exactly.
Because so we say,
Yeah.
okay, you can believe what you want to
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
Let me get it done.
Yeah. So that's what I position myself. And even after I left my corporate life, I've been helping American companies or emerging technology American European companies crack into Japan based on my knowledge.
That's what you're doing now.
Yes, and also the venture capital business. But I think that's what I'm doing. I've helped 5-6 emerging technologies companies from the U.S. get into Japan, because many of the well-established big name American European companies have their own infrastructure here. Then they don't need my help. But if you are small, still emerging, then you don't know how to do it, but they receive inquiries from the top-notch scientists from Japan. They wanted to develop Japan, so I can help you. And
That's good to know.
Yeah.
You heard it here. Sato will help you with the
Yes,
things you want to
yes,
work
yes.
on. And I'll make sure I put connections so you can contact him in the description of this podcast. You'll be able to get the information so you can contact him. Because the thing is, a lot of people that we're dealing with that I have on the podcast are in that position. And I think this can be a bridge.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff we do, even though we don't just promote that, but the thing I want people to understand is the type of person you are. And they can hear that when they go through your life. That makes all the difference.
yeah.
Before I end the podcast, Sato,
Yeah.
I always have a question I like to ask.
Sure.
Oh, you know what it is? Okay. If you could go back in time,
Yeah.
you've already answered in a way, but if you could go back in time and meet the younger Sato, what advice would you give him, and how old would he be?
I would say I go back to my college days. Then advice was to try hard to find out what you like to do for the rest of your life. Then I could have been focused on things which I can achieve that goal. But at that time, my mind was still drifting right, left, up, down. I was not able to determine what I really wanted to do. So I was not able to focus well. I reasonably did well, but I think if I could have more focus and also the clear, sharp goal in my mind, I could have done, I wouldn't say better, but I could have done different way. So that's my advice.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
That
you
was
for
wonderful.
having me here.
For sure.
Enjoy. Yes.
I want to thank all of you for watching this podcast. Make sure you press like and subscribe. And never forget, it's all on loan, so continue to reach for the stars.
Because you are too blessed to be stressed.